is a great church. It's an amazing church. And a lot of times we tend to make a mistake in that we equate the pastor with the church. You know, one of the things that is interesting to me is 940 especially really began here while I was here as the pastor. But one of the things I want to just see for a minute, how many of you were a part of the church before 940? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you have become a part of this church through 940? Raise your hand. Wow, look at that. It's amazing. It's about a mix. And so some of you are new and don't remember this day, but some of you remember 4 years ago on this day, I preached my very first sermon at Woodlawn. And for those of you that were around, you remember that you were grieving terribly the loss of a pastor that you loved named Ron Ball. And if we got really, really honest, there's some of you thought the church will never be the same. It'll never be the same. And you were right. And you especially thought that probably after that first sermon I preached. You went home and said, "Oh God, what have you done to us?" Right? And here we are 4 years later. And God is so faithful. But if we're not careful, the mistake we make is attributing change and the great things and even sometimes bad things to the pastor. When the truth is the church is not the pastor, the church is you, God's people. And we've been looking at these verses from Matthew, where Jesus is confronted by the leadership of the church of his day. And they've said to him, "Okay, Jesus, what's the greatest commandment out of all of these rules? Which one is the most important?" And we've been talking about how Jesus said in Matthew 22:34, he said, or 37, he said, "Love the Lord your God with all of your heart and with all of your soul and with all of your mind." And we've been talking about this passage of what it means to love God with all of our being and all of our feeling and all of our doing. That it's the greatest commandment in the world. It's the most important thing that we could do is learn to love God the way he loves us and even loved us through Christ. Of learning to love him with everything that we are and everything that we have and everything we do. And then Jesus, interestingly, ties another commandment to it. He says, and the second commandment is like it. It's just like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. In other words, Jesus says these two aren't extractable from each other. They're the same, that loving God with all our heart, all our mind, and all our strength means that we will love our neighbor as ourselves. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I've said this over and over. If you don't remember anything, I hope you remember this. When it's all said and done, the only thing that counts, the only thing that is going to last eternally is our love for God and the relationships of love with others. That's it. That's all there is. We're not going to take anything else with us.